Hey, oh, all right. Hey, what's going on, guys? Just getting everything all set up here, and we can get started. First of all, everything looking, sounding okay? Yes, good. I hope so. Everything looks good over here on my end. So, let me know if you guys are seeing any issues on your end. Let's go ahead and get started. God's order, yes, is our thing that we're building here for today. I'm just waiting to see. Make sure getting some confirmation from anybody here as we get going. But yeah, God's order, this line from Max Factory, from the PLAMAX line. What's going on, Victor? One cool thing that I just wanted to show you guys first before we get into the build, which I'm quite excited for. Built many different lines of like Mecha Musume style model kits like this before, but this one I'm looking forward to just because of kind of just how unique it is stylistically. Mercenary, what's going on? So we've got two different booklets here with this one. So one is the construction manual, which is all in color, which is kind of a usual for a PLAMAX kit. The other one here is a kind of like mini art book, which kind of goes over kind of the story of it, which is all here in Japanese, unfortunately. I'm not sure if they have it in English on the Good Smile Company website, maybe, but it's like world building, a bit about the world, like some of the characters and stuff. This particular character here for this one. So hopefully, I guess this will be something that will be included with all of the releases in the line going forward, but we'll wait and see. Just based on this first one and it being like character 001 here, hopefully this is something that we're going to see for each one, where there'll be like this character page and all about the particular character of that kit. The world aspect, I'm not sure if maybe this will be like the same in each release, or maybe they'll have some more different kind of aspects about like the world, like I said, world building kind of. And there's like what looks to be just like a very short novelization kind of episode here. So this one's episode 0. The next one I can hope it will be like episode 1, kind of something like that. And so here's some more kind of about Akiman and Max Factory. Akiman's the illustrator, the designer. Some other designs here up in the line. I think we saw prototypes for 2 more of these, which would be these 2, these red and blue ones at Shizuoka Hobby Show. So yeah, it gives a whole bunch of information, and then information about the development of the kit itself in here. So really cool stuff. I love it when you get kind of stuff like that in with kits. Let's see. Prio said the book is more to give a background story for the Godbuster, since they are not human, right? Okay, interesting. Raz Al Ghul, what's going on? Francis, let's see, the leg armor design looks like, yeah, it does, looks really cool. Just finished building the Zeta Verka and mounted it up on an action base. More than happy to know that it can actually pose with its main rifle without fighting the kit, right? Yeah, very nice kit. It's just a shame that it didn't have the Hyper Mega Launcher, right? How much are these kits? Jar asked. Being PLAMAX kits, they're going to be like more expensive than like your 30 Minutes Mission or 30 Minutes Sisters type kits from Bandai, but like comparable to like a Kotobukiya Mecha Musume kits, I believe. Like everything's quite premium though. Like you saw, it has like the whole like, kind of art book. The entire manual is all in color. Also, we have some pretty nice like pre-printed parts here. This one's like a softer plastic part, which is for the chest. You can see has this design already printed on there like that. So that's always going to add to the cost as well, with like the silver lining up here on the top as well. So stuff like that is going to make the kit a bit more expensive, of course, but you know, like I said, it certainly adds to the value of it, I think. So I don't know exactly how much it is offhand. I would have to check, basically, to answer your question though. All right, let's see. if I can get this to stand up so we can get started. I'm just gonna follow the order as it goes in the manual for the construction. So we're gonna build the head first. Goose said, "Congrats on the AOZ contest being so successful. Awesome entries and trophies." Yeah, definitely. It seems like there's a lot of people that were very impressed. Both of the people that won the trophies and just from other people as well. I've seen in the comments that people were very excited and impressed with the trophies, and for good reason. Yeah, they're really, really nice. So that's definitely really cool. So hopefully that can be something that we'll be able to do for future contests as well. I'm not sure, but it was certainly something that was nice to have for this one. So again, shout out to George for getting those made. And all right, so nice thing about this kit, well, I guess nice is subjective, but one nice thing about this for me is that it doesn't have like multiple forms, like an armored and unarmored form, because that is always nice to have that as an option. So it's definitely cool to have those options available. But when it comes to like doing the actual review, it just makes more work for me to do the review because I have to show it in like both two different forms. The fact that this doesn't have an unarmored form, it's just kind of like one main form, just means that I can focus the review just on one thing rather than having more stuff to cover in the review, right? But I'm sure some people might lament the fact that this doesn't have a different form. Well, I guess I should take that back. No, it does have an unarmored form, but it's really only kind of like the legs. It's really, I guess, the only aspect that kind of changes it all, really. Interesting how the little bit of hair on the back of the head is just like this little tiny bit sticking up like that. Oh, we forgot to put a face on. I'm just gonna go with the just kind of basic face here to start off. So yeah, I guess we have multiple forms in that we have a hair part, which is for the head without the helmet, and then we have legs without the armor on the legs. So it's kind of like a half alternate form. To correct myself on that, hobbyist hoarder mentality, time to get two for both models. Oh yeah, I'm sure that certainly happens with a lot of the like Mecha Musume kits in particular. Yeah, if you really like the look of like both forms, they kind of make it difficult for you. All right, so which way does this go? Like that. Going to kind of bounce around. Should we make it? I guess we should probably make this as the armored form for now. So let me go ahead and switch that up here in just a second. I think I have this part in there correctly. It's not quite going in though, so I want to make sure that's in there properly. How are you guys all doing today? Anyway, Wednesday. Having a good Wednesday, everyone. Just a heads up that I will be planning to do another live build. No, that's right. Another live build on Friday. As I mentioned in the live build on Monday, or not live build, the live stream on Monday was not a live build, but it was a live critique episode. But as I mentioned there, the two kits that I'm going to be live building this week would be this kit and then also the Metal Gear Ray. So stay tuned for that. This one part like doesn't want to fit in there. It's very tight. And still is not totally flush in there, which I don't really like, but I just have to stick with that as it is. It's about as good as it's going to be for now, I guess. Yeah. Let's see. How do these go on here? Let's just go ahead and swap this out first. So we have this one of just the head without the helmet part. I'm gonna swap that out here. I'm gonna put the helmet on. Like this, right? Yeah. Interesting. Try to make sure I have everything correct on here. Let's see. That's not right. Okay. Okay. There we go. I was putting that on there incorrectly. So this part on the front of the helmet will fold down in front of the face. And like typical knight fashion. Let me go ahead and do this. Like that. Drops down in front of the face. Like so. Hey, just want to ask, does anyone Gundam Lifrith have fitting problems on the right thigh? Mine seems to not be sitting quite right. Cutie Mika, I didn't have any issues with mine, Lifrith, and I've actually built 2 of them, so I don't think that you should be having any issues with that. I would just recommend, typically what I tell people when I get asked about stuff like that is just disassemble it and then put it back together again following the manual. Watch out for any maybe it's like a nub that you missed when you're cutting off parts. Maybe you just missed a nub and that's kind of blocking you from being able to put the part in correctly, or maybe you just didn't have one of the parts pushed in all the way properly, stuff like that. There's a lot of different things that it could be, but typically just taking it apart and putting it back together will, then you just won't have an issue. Something was just not quite right, or you'll be able to identify what it was that was catching you up on that. Okay, we've got all these little parts here for the torso now. For the neck, though, first, this kind of collar piece. Oh, that's not right. This goes on top. And this one on top of here. But yeah, this Friday, the plan is to live build the Metal Gear Ray in Kotobukiya. So come back on Friday afternoon, check that out if you guys are going to be interested in that. What's your opinion on the hair color? Zach Prio asked. I like it. Yeah, it's cool, very unique. It's like almost white, very, very light. Color there. Yeah, I like it. It's cool. Kind of unique. All right, this torso piece here. It's like this. That should click, right? Feel like. Yep, there we go. Not so much of a click like Bandai kits do, but there we go. That was a little bit better. When's the next giveaway? I actually have something that I am going to be giving away, which just arrived yesterday, I think. Right here. Da-da-ding. This is the Dubai exclusive version of the HDRX 782 that a friend there, just a supporter of the channel, was kind enough to send. He sent 2 of them, so one for me to review and share with you guys, and another one to give away. So yeah, I'll have one of those that I'll be giving away soon. So look out for the review of that. That's the only thing at the moment that I have like planned giveaway wise. Other than that, it will just be planning for the next contest. So there's a few different ideas that I've had. A couple ideas that I've had like for a long time that I wanted to do for different contests, and then like some other more recent ideas which would be kind of more relevant to kind of like current trends and stuff like that. But so just kind of thinking about what will be best for the next contest. And there you go. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we have planned at the moment. Okay, this part here. It is interesting. I'll tell you, building a lot of this type of like Mechamisame kits, they're always kind of, you know, sort of familiar, right? Because they're all sort of similar in some ways, but it's always interesting to see what makes them different. Just because of what they are, just like the style of what the kits are, they're always going to be, you know, sharing the same general kind of concept of how the kits are designed, but they're from different companies and designed, you know, by different people, and the designs themselves are different. So it's always interesting to see how different lines of these kits compare and contrast. And the Max Factory kits especially are always unique. There's always something a little different about them. Got two different options here for this hip part. They're the same part. It's just on different runners. I don't think there's anything different about them. Just kind of like having a spare part, basically. All right, this neck part. Now that we've kind of built the different sections of the torso, now we start actually putting it all together. And this neck part just goes in there like that. Okay. And then we got to put this kind of cloak part over the top of that. Over the top and over the bottom. Kind of fit around there. And this slots down through there. Onto there like that. Very interesting. Yeah. How this all kind of goes together. Pretty cool. Then getting to the skirting parts of this. There's a part of the build right here where we're also supposed to then suddenly build the sword. It's kind of awkward that while we're in the middle of building the body, we're just suddenly putting this sword part together. I don't like how loose this is, this skirt part here on the back. It's meant to just, I would assume it's meant to be loose so that it can just hang and like look natural, whereas if you had it posed like this and it was just like stuck in like that or stuck in an unnatural position, so that no matter how you have the kit posed, gravity will do its work on this skirt part and weigh it down in a way that looks natural. But still, on a model kit, I don't like when stuff is that loose, but as long as it's not falling off. Would you be interested in making a SDMG style contest? Maybe, Jay, possibly. I usually try to keep it a bit more wide open. Something like that is like quite specific, so you know, I'm sure we would get some really cool entries. But that being kind of a little bit more specific and a little bit more kind of advanced type of thing, you know, I'm sure there would be a lot of people who would be a bit more hesitant to try that. You know, my hope is that people would excuse me. Hope is that people will be open to, you know, trying new things. I understand that something like that, just by its nature, is definitely a little bit more of an advanced concept. So even with contests where painting is like a requirement, it's still, you know, I feel like fairly accessible for most people. But anyway, I'm not totally opposed to the idea. I'll certainly consider that. I'm trying to find the right pieces here. There should be, let's see, make sure I have them all. Yeah. I was thinking about this after the fact that I probably shouldn't have cut these pieces out ahead of time because they're very specific to each section. So I'm gonna have to like guess and test these to figure out which one's right. So you can, let me zoom in so you guys can see. On the skirt armor, there's these like kind of little buckle clasp detail parts there. There's 6 different ones, 2 on each side and then 2 on the back, I think, or just 2 on each side, and we have an optional piece here for storing the sword. And yeah, they here we go. They can be tricky. So let's see. And that is also, oh, okay, I got it. So once we have that in there, then this one here, and wait a minute. Oh, that's also an option piece here. Interesting. What's with that? What's the option for that? So we have options for the kind of front part of the skirt. One is, I guess, longer, so it would totally cover the front. And one is shorter, so that it doesn't totally cover the front. Let's see just kind of how these look on you. Also not sure if that's supposed to go over or under that part. Over, under, I guess. Like that? Yeah, that looks right. Okay. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna go with the sword equipped part on here. All right. The front skirt have 2 options, one for a standing pose and one for a moving pose. Yeah, right. That's what I'm kind of figuring out. Sorry. I should have read your comment there earlier, but yeah. So here we go. Like I said, it's a new line building this kit for the first time. And somewhere was supposed to, okay. Supposed to put this part here on for the pants, but I think that's actually supposed to go on later once we are going to put the legs on, which we're not ready to do quite yet. But let's go ahead and put on the head. And here we have, so far, it's very bright. See, that makes it a bit easier for you guys to see there. And where did the other part go? Okay, so we're just gonna swap this silver part depending on whether you want to have the sword attached onto this side or not. And at the moment, I am gonna attach the sword on there once I build that part. Let me just go ahead and grab this. The parts are right here. It's just this small, dainty little, it's kind of almost more of a dagger than a sword, but it's kind of somewhat in between, I guess. that will plug right here onto the side skirt like that. Okay. So let's build the arms next. Just because these should be pretty quick. The legs are going to be probably the most involved in the most parts heavy aspect of the kit, just because they have all the armor and stuff, everything going on. And arms should be pretty quick. That kit looks like it would fit in well with the Arcanadia line. Yeah, kind of similar aesthetic to it, right? Yeah. Especially with the first one, the second one, just kind of the aesthetic of the line in general. Yeah, totally. So let's see, we do have a couple of options here for the arm, I guess. In that, yeah, we do have. So I was just kind of completely wrong, essentially, before when I was talking about how we have not that much of a armored and unarmored kind of gimmick going on with this one compared to other lines, where we really, it's actually, it does have a pretty much full armored and unarmored form like we would typically see in this kind of kit. It's just that it doesn't have an alternate body is the only difference, because there is different parts for the head, there's different parts for the arms, the legs. So yeah, I was just kind of being dumb, I guess. So we have an unarmored arm, a bare skin arm part, and then our armored one here, and a few different hand parts. Not a ton of hand parts, but all the essentials here, basically closed fists, open hands, and holding hands. So anything that you would typically need, just nothing extra, basically. But let's go ahead and put the wrist joint in that one for right now. Yeah, and that's it for the arms. So yeah, very familiar construction here for the arms. Nothing too out of the ordinary there. Aside from the legs, the other really cool aspect of this kit is just going to be the weapon. Weaponry in general. It has a pretty cool shield as well, but the kind of like lance weapon especially is going to be pretty cool. So let's just get this other arm here put together real quick, and then we can move on to the legs. Being a little bit careful on this part of the arm. Let me zoom in. That really thin little peg right there, which is plugged into the elbow, actually broke, and I glued it back in place. I figure it's going to be pretty inconsequential, really. So even if that broke off entirely, it probably wouldn't make that much of a difference. Just to keep the arm closed off, there's another peg down there, and the actual elbow joint would just still be held in place by the same piece there, so it doesn't really matter. But be careful. It's a really tiny, thin little peg there in that part for the elbow joint. Okay. And throw those over there. This shoulder piece. Is there any color schemes you like for night styled kits? Well, I'll tell you, generally I don't really like night theme stuff in general. So no, I don't really have a particular color scheme that I kind of like or dislike for night stuff, because I usually don't really like night stuff at all. So that's why at first when this kit was first announced and like first came out, I actually didn't get one straight away. It wasn't until later that I looked at it more and thought it actually looks really quite nice that I thought I wanted to build it and review it. Just because, yeah, the whole knights and dragons and wizards kind of fantasy thing just doesn't really do it for me. I don't really like that stuff quite as much as I like kind of other kind of futuristic space sci-fi, you know, cyberpunk kind of stuff, anything like that, or futuristic science fiction rather than like I guess what would you call it? I don't know, fantasy, science fiction anyway, but yeah, it's where my preferences lie, my interests. Design is by Akiman, yes. Who shares a lot of artwork on Twitter, so if you guys are on Twitter, definitely follow Akiman on there. You can see a lot of cool artwork of stuff that he works on. I don't think that there's a Twitter account specifically for God's Order. Sometimes on like Kotobukiya, for example, has a Twitter account for Sosai Shoujo Teien, their line of high school girl model kits. They have they're a totally separate, well, not like totally separate. I'm sure it's still run by someone there within Kotobukiya, of course, but they have a separate Twitter account for that line. PLAMAX or Good Smile Company does not have a Twitter account specifically for this line. I don't believe so. But if you're interested in kind of seeing more of it, just following Akiman would be a good way to go. Okay. Not a whole lot of skin on this one, basically just the face, neck, hands, and this one little part here for the thighs. So let's see. That goes like that. This part here. Interesting. PLAMAX still haven't invested that much into marketing Mecha Musume Bishoujo Plamo as much as Kotobukiya. Yeah, seems that way. It's not quite like their bread and butter like it is for Kotobukiya. Kotobukiya makes a lot of different stuff very well, but certainly, I mean, they've seen a ton of success with their Mecha Musume kind of style model kits, Frame Arms Girl, and then Megami Device, and all that, and now even more. Sosai Shoujo Teien, and they have the X series coming out, as well as the what's that other series of like kind of cyborg? They're not like totally Mecha Musume, but just more heavily mecha. I keep forgetting the name of it, but so you can see that they're definitely trying to expand even more so their range of that type of kit, just because they're so popular and successful. So this is obviously the unarmored legs that we're building here at the moment. Which are just kind of typical knee-high sock legs here. Let's see. Like that. But then for the mechanical parts, we're going to just get rid of that and build that aspect of it. Now, these Kotobukiya, look at the Kotobukiya latest Mecha Musume kit box size of these last 6 months. They're so wide now. Yeah, it was quite it's kind of buried under a couple other things over there, but the most recent release in the Sosai Shoujo Teien line, yeah, is in the larger size box now, which I was quite surprised to see, because there's like, as far as the contents, what's actually in there, it's not like it has that much more stuff than what they've included in previous releases. What it was, what it looks like, I mean, there is a little bit more in there than some of the past releases, but it seems like the main thing was that they just wanted to be taking up more shelf space, which, you know, when they're going to invest into really nice box art that they have for those, might as well show that box art off with a nice big box. Certainly makes it that much more appealing to customers as well. All right. This here is a couple parts that go in the leg here. All right. Oh, this molded silver does look pretty nice, I have to say. You do have a little bit of like that kind of swirl going on in there that I know that some people don't really care for in like the molded gold, molded silver, but I think it doesn't look too bad in this case. If anything, just kind of adds to the look of it. It's supposed to look like kind of knight armor kind of aesthetic. This is the piece for the shoe. Okay, there's that. Interesting layers to this part of the foot here. Quite a lot going on in that. Interesting. Okay. This ankle part. Yep. There we go. All right. Let's see. Coda hitting hard on Mekamusume, 3 different lines, and they released the new Durga 2 for pre-orders. Yep. PLAMAX Max Factory hasn't done too much, but they have a bigger pre-built, yeah, for Figma and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, Max Factory also has the Guilty Princess line. So I mean, they've got a couple of kits that have just recently been out in that line as well. So I mean, like they've got a good amount of stuff going on. Okay. So this is supposed to be like that. All right. We can get this in here. Come on. Can't get this in. Here we go. Whew. That was tricky. And then this here and here. And then there's another kind of strap detail part here. Do you have any interest in kit bashing the mecha girls with any Gunpla kits? Jay, interesting question, Jay. I actually have an idea, yeah. A particular idea which I've had for a little while that I've been planning on working on. Just not really started on that yet. But yeah. Let's see. Is that in there all the way? I've certainly talked about it, not this particular idea, I mean, but the concept in general, kit bashing like Mekamusume kits with Gundam kits, and usually the context of when I'm talking about it is talking about like how difficult a concept I think it is. Because a lot of times it's challenging to get to kit bash the two kits together in a way that looks good, basically, in a way that looks like it makes sense and like the parts are melded well together, both like stylistically and also functionally. But I think that certainly can be done. It just takes a lot of work, and so unless you're willing to put in a good amount of work, then yeah, it's certainly a challenge. So that said, this is the wrong part. I hope these aren't all wrong. Hopefully I just switched to that one part. Looks like it, yeah. So that's right. And then if we switch that around, let's see, hopefully that's the only part that's mixed up. Not any more of this. It's like that. Okay, yep, that's right. Okay, seeing how these parts are kind of like layered on top of each other. And this one here, like this. Okay. And then this one here. I don't know if it's just because these are molded silver, but they feel a bit tighter fit than like the rest of the kit so far. I've taken a bit more effort to squeeze everything into place. But once we do, there's everything for this leg, this wing. For that leg, let me just make sure that that's right, because it looks a bit awkward, but I think it is right. Anyway, okay. No, I think it is wrong. Let me see. It's supposed to be facing in or out, like that. I think that is on the wrong leg. Let me see. I may have pulled these parts out incorrectly. Let me see if I can find a better photo of the kit. Here we go. It's not too clear though, and I guess it doesn't really matter. They could kind of go either way, but I do think I have it backwards, so that's actually going to be for the other side. Anyway, not too big a deal. Looks like you built the other wing. Yeah, it is. It's the wrong way around. That's fine. Actually, it's the whole other leg. I kind of had them swapped entirely, but let's just go ahead and get this on here. Then we'll kind of come back to that. Let's get the other leg built up, and then we'll sort out which one goes on which side. Ugh. That's all kind of like falling apart there at the moment, so let's put these up here. Yeah. You guys in agreement on the leg mix up there. Do you have any interest? Okay, I read that. Right, it seems like the 30-minute sisters just replaced the arms and legs. Yeah, I mean, typically that's what you see when you see people kit bashing Gundam kits and Mecha Musume kits. It's generally going to be like taking a 30 minutes missions kit and just like swapping the arms and legs. Maybe like kit bashing parts of the chest armor of like the mecha unit onto the like the front of the Musume torso or something like that. Like I said, it's a difficult challenge. To get everything to look right. There we go. All right. Uh-oh. I feel it. way I will say at the moment, it could just be because I'm just like fooling around with it here and not being super careful with it. But my kind of first impression here at the moment is that I don't really like how the skirt armor is designed. Just because it's being kind of annoying. But let's see. There we go. There's that. Definitely the big, massive armored legs add a lot of chunk to the design there. Okay. Oh, we got some more parts here to pull out. Not quite done yet. Looking for the part for the wing. Which is where? Excuse me. Still getting over that cough that I had last week, so apologies. Trying to keep it to a minimum. All right. Let's get this. Other leg. Unarmored leg. I'm just gonna kind of slap this together here real quick. Then we can put that up to the side. The skirt armor is the weakest part, yeah. Seems like it's going to be kind of a bit of a pain. One of those aspects where it's just going to be like coming apart on you every time when you're trying to pose it. I did put that together backwards, didn't I? I was putting together this part here for the ankle, hoping that there wasn't a particular front and back to that, and I didn't need to refer back to the menu, but there you go. Just goes to show. Never assume. Make sure you follow the instructions. And that's why a part separator is very handy. Now, I'm gonna have to go back here. All right. This one here, like that. The trouble is that, like, usually Bandai and mostly Kotobukiya as well, they generally, like when you're building like the arms and legs of these type of kits, you build the right side first and then the left side second. But sometimes when you're building kits from other companies, they don't necessarily follow that and they might mix it up. So usually, like when I'm cutting out all the parts, I'm just assuming that when you build like the two legs separately, when it's not just like a ×2, or even when it's like a ×2 and then just one aspect of it is specific for the left and the right side, I always just assume that the right side, like what's being shown first in the manual, is the right side, because that's usually what Bandai and I believe generally what Kotobukiya does as well. But yeah, not always the case. So sometimes that happens, that I'm building something and then I'll be putting it together and figure out that I cut out the wrong parts, or that I put the left leg together when I was thinking it's going to be the right leg. Kind of thing like that. All right, and where is this part? Here it is. So that I can put this wing together here first. We need our different wing parts. Here and here. How about the mold line with this kit? Do you see a lot of mold line? Not that much that I'm really noticing so far anyway. But I mean, there's certainly a good amount of seam lines, and the seams aren't as seamless as Kotobukiya's. Like, for example, if you've built any of these type of kits from Kotobukiya, they have a fair amount of seams on them, but they're not very noticeable, just because the parts fit so tightly together that they're usually pretty well covered, or just, yeah, pretty difficult to see just with the naked eye, unless like you look up real close. But with this one, I mean, I can tell that the seams are definitely more noticeable. see, that's not the right part. Where is it? It's not that one. Here it is. But again, that is pretty common. There we go. And here we are. Foot part. Where did that go? Yeah, especially among like the PLAMAX kits, which is kind of unfortunate, but yeah. Anything to be careful with? Well, yeah, I mentioned earlier there's a little peg on the arm parts of the forearm parts here. There's two parts of the forearm that sandwich together. One of the pegs between those two parts is very thin and quite long. So I actually broke off one of them while I was just handling the parts, just cutting off the nubs and everything. Kind of just broke very easily. So look out for that. Other than that, no, I don't think I've seen anything that I would necessarily say that you have to like be really careful of. Just standard amount of caution, I guess, just when building it. Yeah, what I can tell so far with the skirt section is that it's going to be kind of touchy, and just while you're trying to pose the kit, you're probably going to notice that those skirt parts are going to want to come apart or come off easily. So just be careful with that. Let's see, this one goes this way this time. There we go. And here. Like that. Fortunately, the bulk of the leg here is just ×2 between the left and the right side. So once you've built the one, as you can see here, it's pretty easy to put the other one together without really having to refer back to the instructions. Now, of course, you do want to be careful that everything's lined up properly. Yeah, that strap part there on the back of the legs seems like it should fit in there more snugly, but kind of doesn't. So, all right. I just happened to get lucky the first time. These parts here on like the side of the legs are one thing that differentiates the left and the right, because on the sides of the knee there's a hole on one side and not on the other, and that's for where you can plug the wing onto there. First time around I didn't really pay attention to that, and I just kind of slapped them on there. And where did I forget to put this piece on? Right there on the knee. Let's see if I can get it in here without taking the whole thing apart. Yeah, I can kind of sneak this in there. There we go. Not too bad. And then this part down here. Okay. Relatively painless. All right. And the other thing that I think is going to be a point of maybe worry is how heavy the legs are, how difficult or easy it's going to be to pose. And we do have a stand included, so that is helpful, but really cool looking design for sure. Careful with the hair part, the smaller part. Yeah, that too. I mean, anything where it's like a thin, it looks like our camera froze, as is pretty typical right about now. Let me go ahead and just mess with that here for us. Yeah, it's always kind of right around the 1 hour mark. So let me go ahead and just switch up the camera. Hello. Here, and let me do that. We'll do a little bit of Restarting. Yeah, I'm sure what the problem is with my encoder device between my camera and my computer is what is the problem. Yep, because it usually just takes a little OBS restart, unplug the camera, plug it back in, and then everything's fine. Okay. Okay. Here we are. Anyway, yeah, it is very awesome, but it also has a really cool weapon. Main weapon. Here we've got this tiny little sword, which is fine. It's very cute. But it has a really cool weapon here as well. So let's go ahead and move her over here to the side. And actually, let me check here in the menu. I think I want to build that other part first. Yeah, so pause that. I'll move this stuff over here for a second. There's the part of the build which is kind of like the mount, which kind of everything plugs onto kind of on the back. I want to go ahead and put this part together here first. It has a couple more swords. Where are those? Right here. Before I lose these teeny tiny little ball pieces here, I'm going to plug them here on the ends of the swords, end of the sword handles, before they become lost. Right there. Not sure how tightly that's supposed to go on there. Seems like it's not supposed to go all the way in. But just enough. Like that. Okay. So this contraption here for the back. Let's see, we got this one like this. Plugs onto there. This one plugs onto here. Let's see, because the shoulder joint is so simple with still assessing whether the arm can hold the weapon or not. Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, with any time you have a kit like this and it's got like a particularly large weapon, like the Megami device, which ones are those? The Bullet Knights kits that have the huge, massive weapons. That's always the concern. Can it actually hold up the weapons? But usually what you have to do is you just end up having to use a display stand for that, which it's always nice to not have to use a display stand for something like that. But you know, considering how massive the weapon is, it's not like too surprising. So for something like this as well, I think we'll see. Just based on what I've seen of like the photos, and from what I can tell of the weapon, it looks pretty large, and we're probably going to need to use a stand to hold it up for some of the poses. Oh, that's not right. What am I doing? Those teeny tiny little ball parts, I thought going into the sword, they actually go into this other part right here. Why would they make it so that it's like the same connection? Same like little square peg that holds on those parts on the ends of the swords. Also holds those little ball parts. Anyway, that's weird. And these go on here. How? Like this. Okay. So this is the part which attaches onto the back, which these swords are attached to. So aside from that little sword she has on her side skirt, also got these swords which are attached onto the back, and then we've got her main weapon, which is also like a gigantic lance. So lots of stuff to play with. This plugs onto the lower back right here, like that. right there. And yeah, the skirt is going to be a pain. The kit is looking great, but sometimes it's hard to stay positive when I'm doing the review. You know, for me, ultimately, as long as the kit looks great, that's what I'm looking for in a kit. So, you know, as long as it looks good, then it's a pretty easy thumbs up from me. But when it comes to actually doing the review, if the kit's giving me problems in the review, then it's frustrating, right? But I try not to let that frustration, you know, kind of lead me to talk negatively of a kid, because I mean sometimes there's issues that are, you know, worth pointing out as like a particular negative point of a kit. But with something like this, I mean, the only reason that I'm having trouble with the skirting armor is because I'm like fumbling around with it. You know, if I was just posing it and setting it up on my shelf, are those parts just gonna fall off naturally if I just look at it? Or, you know, are the parts gonna stay on, or they're gonna come off just by themselves and get lost or anything like that? And does the kit look good? And as long as it, you know, fits all of that, then it's a success in my mind. It's a good kit. It's a good boy. Let's see. I want this part. The short one or the long one? There we go. Just putting the stand together here real quick, because then I can close the box and move that aside. Yep. Get that. Here. Yeah. Even though we have the like longer. Oh, is the camera froze again? Oh no. Why is it doing that? All right. Hang on. I'll check it out. I think what it is that encoder device that I have for the camera is probably overheated, and that's why it freezes up around an hour in, because about an hour of use is enough to get it warm. And yeah, let me just go ahead and switch up this camera here for a second. Hello. And do this. I'm just gonna leave that off for a moment, and then we'll plug that back in. We'll come back to that. Let's go ahead. You guys are not gonna be able to see what I'm doing here for a moment, but we can still talk about it. For example, this shield, I'll show you guys. It's only a couple of pieces. Let me just get this put together here. The shield is pretty cool. I can make sure these are right. Another thing that I've learned with this one is that this kit is one of those that when you cut out all the pieces, even though I have the pieces like separated out into like left arm, right arm, torso, head, left leg, right leg, all that, it's still kind of easy to get them a bit confused if you're not careful. So just something to look out for future me. Here is the shield, and that red is pre-painted on there, which is pretty cool. The backside, and it seems like the backside is supposed to be all brown, but it's silver. But then you have like the straps on there are brown, but like I think looking at the sample images, the backside of the shield, I don't know, maybe not. So it's supposed to be silver all around the trim of it. Is there no other color guide photos? There's not any other photos showing that. Why was I thinking that backside of the shield is supposed to be brown. I don't know. I'm sure I must have seen a photo of that. Anyway, all right. Let me put a couple of these parts together here, and then we'll try switching that camera back on again and see if I can get that working for you. Just let me put a couple of these parts in here. Anyway, so with this being the first, hang on guys, let me take this call a second. Yeah, it was spam. I was thinking it was going to be spam, but I wasn't quite sure. So just in case, I thought I better answer, and it was spam. So, right. Okay. The trouble is this part here. It's one of those where you have to do a bit of a balancing act. Get everything to stay together while you're pressing these two halves together like that. All right, let's see. Can you build more Kotobukiya kit like the AIS X Sword? What is that? I don't know what that is. AIS, is that one of those Sword Art Online kits? Maybe. Let's see, the spam bots have been out enforcedly. Have you guys seen any spam bots here? Or is that like I've not seen any so far. Oh, you're talking about like spam calls. Yeah. I get a lot all the time. I don't know. It's unfortunate. Something that I didn't deal with at all in Korea. Like spam calls are like, they're a thing in Korea, but I never got it. I mean, very rarely. It's not like here, yeah, it's multiple a day. Pretty crazy. Fantasy Star Online 2 mech. So yeah, I did build one of those kits before. Persnickety. I did build one before, and as far as I know, all the different kind of versions are basically similar. Okay. Let me switch back the camera. And they're kind of mostly just like the colors different, and they have kind of different equipment, but mostly all kind of the same. I didn't really the kit was fine. I didn't really enjoy it that much personally, so that's why I just kind of haven't wanted to build another one, just because I feel like I reviewed one, so you know, kind of all my thoughts and opinions about the kit is already there in the one review that I did. Other versions of the kit are all going to be pretty similar, so you can basically kind of take whatever I thought about the one kit that I reviewed and just kind of apply that to any of the other kits, and that should give you a pretty good idea of what I would have to say about any of the kits in the line. And I just didn't really like the kit that much personally enough to want to build any of the other ones from the line. So yeah, the Zionic Shadow, thanks for the follow on Twitter. Yeah, you're welcome. No problem. Let's see, I have that backwards, don't I? Yep. So as far as like Persnickety, oh yeah, the Exord is the alien infested one, also comes with the creature grunt. Yeah, I mean, again, as far as I know, it's still like, I'll look at it, but I think it's like kind of mostly the same kit, or at least similar enough that, yeah, again, you could take whatever I said about the one that I did review, and I mean, you could just generally apply that to any of those kits in that line, I think. Sorry if that's not the answer you're hoping for. I understand you're hoping that I'll take a look at some more of those. As far as just like taking a look at different Kotobukiya kits, I mean, I build a lot of different Kotobukiya kits all the time. Like I said, the live build that I'll be doing this Friday is going to be the Metal Gear Ray. Just recently reviewed the Metal Gear Solid 4 version of the Rex. And let's see. Just this week, or in this past week-ish kind of time period, build that new Sosai Shoujo Teien kit, which I was just talking about a minute ago. Also have built the frame arms girl Hisfelger adder. And anything else? Let's see. The QP Mini frame arms girl stylet. Kind of a lot of Kotobukiya Mecha Musume stuff aside from the Metal Gear kits, but what else do I have? I have some other yeah, I have the Evangelion Unit 2 cannibalized version in my to-do list right here, as well as the Gunhead kit. So a couple of non-Musume mecha kits from Kotobukiya that I will be building in the near future. So I love Kotobukiya kits, and I love the fact that they make a lot of different kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of different stuff from them to build all the time. These parts are supposed to be a part in between there that popped out right as I was putting them together. There's not any way, no, it's not any way to get that back in there without taking these apart, which are not going to be easy to get apart, unfortunately. This is why you have to be careful. Kotobukiya still have a license to Armored Core. Yeah, apparently, because they just announced a couple of the Armored Core kits that they're going to be reprinting. And I'd assume we're probably going to see some more, too. I don't know if that will be the extent of the Armored Core kits that they're going to be reprinting, or if there's going to be more, but I believe they also announced that they're going to be making a new, at least one, if not more, new kit from the new game as well. Or something, or at least some kind of new Armored Core kit. So yeah, I don't know what their license for Armored Core stuff is like or whatever, but if you're a fan, it's another series of Kotobukiya kits that I've not built a ton of, just because they don't appeal that much to me. I think I've built and reviewed 2 different Armored Core kits. It was the Sunshine and the what's that big one? Shoot. Let's see if I can get this together properly this time. There we go. Gotta clean that up a little bit. Sunshine and what was the other one? Now I'm drawing a blank. Sorry. Don't recall. But yeah, that as well. I feel like with the 2 that I've built and reviewed, it should give you guys a pretty good idea about like what to expect from the line. And so I can kind of then, rather than, you know, building and reviewing every single one of those that's going to come out, if it's not something that's particularly interesting to me, can devote my time to other things like this. I gotta make sure I can see what I'm doing here with this. It's very interesting, the construction here. Okay. Not sure yet what exactly the rhyme or reason is for the way that this is constructed, but we'll find out. It's supposed to be like that. Okay. It's some, like, the way that these parts fit on there, I can tell it's like some sort of like locking mechanism. but it's kind of difficult to tell exactly what's going on. I don't like this. I don't like when it's not clear. That's not the right part, I guess, for that. Oh, no, it is. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I guess I just have that on backwards. Alright. Alright, there we go. It's like 4 different parts that go onto there, and it's a very certain way in certain order that, yeah, it's kind of tricky. But I guess I figured it out. Okay. Next up, this part for the handle. It's on there like that. And yeah, I don't understand quite yet what exactly it is that is this whole contraption here for the handle of this, why it's so complicated. I guess there's going to be more kind of gimmick built into it than what I can tell at the moment. Let's see. That's this part. Very interesting. Oof. Let's see. The hilt spins kind of. Yeah, something like that. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know exactly what it's gonna do, but it's gonna do something. It's going to do something interesting here in a moment. Just wish that it was a little bit easier to get these parts together. The problem is that it's hard to get them to stay where they're supposed to be whilst trying to get these together. So I think what's going to be easier is to kind of put this like this. It's kind of like halfway connected. Then put these parts in. And then press it down tightly. Yep, there we go. That was better. Okay. So we got that. Then this part folds in. And then what? Jesus. Now what? This part is at the top. And this is supposed to fit into here. Somehow. Jeez. All right. Like that. Okay, I'm ready to be done now. I did put that part on upside down. No. I do not like how it's making me cough. Do not like how complex this handle part is. Jeez. I'm going to re-put this whole section together again. All right. Excuse me for a moment. I'm kind of having to backtrack here a little bit. because I didn't pay attention, even though the manual says caution where this part goes together. I did not use caution, and now I'm paying the price. All right. As we were saying, now we're on there. Here, here, and that in there. All right, we almost got it here, guys. Just a couple pieces left. And then we'll try to figure out what the heck this is all for. Why this was so dang complicated. Another pre-printed part here on the side, that like cross detail there. And this part goes on this side. No. I'm dropping pieces. Man, I need a break. Hang on. You just take a second to breathe here. Because, ooh-wee. So I can tell that like what's going on basically is like when that part moves, when you like rotate that, this part is kind of like meant to move a certain way, but it's not doing what it's supposed to do. Yeah. It's supposed to be like that. There we go. Okay. So yeah, like I was saying earlier in the stream when someone was asking about it with their H to the 5th, when things don't fit exactly right, the best thing to do is just take it apart and put it back together. And that's what I just had to do here for myself. So, okay, the weapon is done, and we have this clear part here for this as well, which I imagine is just sort of optional-ish, but let's go ahead and put this in here. Now, is there a particular way that this goes in here? Because it looks totally the same, even though it says caution. Okay. So yeah, when you rotate this, it's like a whole big thing about how to get this expanded. So like this is like the collapsed form, and then to get it expanded out, it's not just a simple, you just fold this part out, or there's the whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, kind of 8, if you count the last step of just putting this effect part in there, 8-step process to getting this transformed. And then you have to do like a little parts form. You have to take off this part just to get the hand onto the handle. So complexity is not a bad thing, but it's certainly going to be a bit of a pain. It's a really cool looking weapon though. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, main thing that I'm looking for is just, does it look cool? And it certainly looks very cool. So I'm happy with that. I think I spent an hour taking it apart and putting it together, trying to figure it out. Yeah, this was a kind of complicated little section there, but yeah, like I said, as long as it looks cool, I'll be happy with it. So we'll see. I'm not going to mess with it right now. I'm just going to wait until I'm actually doing the review. But for the time being, it's definitely a really unique build. I mean, compared to, having built quite a lot of Mecha Musume style kits in my time. This one has a lot of very unique aspects to it, so it's not like they just kind of took all of like the familiar engineering which you see, you know, in kind of all the kits, and they just kind of made it engineered. The construction of it is the same like what you've seen 100 times, just with like a new style to it, but it's quite a different build too entirely. So it's the Plamo Godz, making it complex to make up for how easy the act mode kit, quote unquote kit, was. Yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah. Right, anyway, I missed that show you used to do with Josh, time zones. Yeah, it's mostly to do with time zones, the reason why I can't do that with Josh anymore. Yeah, Plamo no trend. But aside from time zones, it's also just like we're both like just kind of busy. It used to be that I would do that with Josh. I think it would be like in the morning time, because when I was living in Korea, it was great for doing live streaming because I could live stream in the morning in Korea, which would be the evening for the bulk of my audience, which is in the US. So most of you guys are in the US. Evening is the time when kind of most people are around, they're at home, they're able to watch. You know, during the day, during the morning is when people are at work or school or whatever. But how it is now, I don't have a setup to be able to do this at home in the evening, and I don't want to stay here at work in the evening. I have my family, so I can't stream in the evenings anymore. It's unfortunate, but yeah, time zones, right? It's a pain, but anyway, I'm glad you guys were able to come and check out this live build. It's something different. It's the first kit in this line, so it's the first time for me to build this kit, but the second kit just came out, so I will be building the second kit very soon, which, as I understand, is going to be probably pretty similar to this. It does look great, yeah. Jesse asking, quick question, do you do commissions? No, not at this time. I'm not doing any commissions. I have done some before. I may do some again in the future, but at the moment, no, I'm not doing any commissions. So yeah, cool kit. Definitely look out for the review coming very soon. And in the meantime, guys, like I said, this Friday, I'll be doing another live build, building the Metal Gear Rex. No, sorry, the Metal Gear Ray. Yes. Jonathan just got out of class to catch the tail end of the build. It does look cool, though. Yeah, it is very cool. So yeah, live build Friday, building Metal Gear Ray. Other than that, working on some different videos for you guys. The video that I'm currently editing that should be hopefully going up later this evening for you guys, it'll be up like tonight, is going to be of the Meng Evangelion, the gigantic Meng Evangelion kit of the Eva Unit 02. So that's a pretty cool one. Look out for that review tonight. And yeah, that's it for today, guys. See you on Friday.